you have the floor for notifications.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Pleasant good morning to everybody, Madam Chair, to you, SG, and to my MP colleagues, and to everybody who's in the Tribune, and to everybody watching via media. Madam Chair, I know the results of my action this past week cannot be undone. I understand what has transpired, and Madam Chair, I would like for everybody in St. Martin to know that I, Kevin Mingred, is truly sorry for those actions. I understand, Madam Chair, that right now I have lost the confidence and I have lost the confidence of the people of St. Martin, and with my family as well, and the coalition. But Madam Chair, I want the people to know I could make this wrong right with my utmost work ethic going forward from now. Madam Chair, I would also like to to apologize to my family and friends and all my supporters of what transpired this whole past week. And with that being said, Madam Chair, I have nobody else to blame but myself. I'm a rookie in this game, and I will learn how to not be a rookie and learn from my mistakes and move forward with this. I'm not here to point any fingers. I'm here to own on my mistakes and accountability of my actions. And Madam Chair, I'm a firm believer of God. And one thing I could say, God would put me back stronger in front of those who broke me. Thank you, Madam Chair.
To thank my parents for instilling the values that earned the confidence of the 249 voters to represent you in St. Martin. Right now, we face challenging times, not because we are a young country, but due to the obstacles we place in our way. Discussions on independence highlight these issues, inviting major scrutiny on our island. We must ask ourselves, have we reaped any benefits as of yet? As I awaited the approval of my credentials, I heard many say, I don't have anything against you, but that didn't make me feel any good. As a parliamentarian, I aim to deliberate and act for the benefit of our great island, St. Martin. Our actions should benefit the community and the nation. Electoral reform is urgently needed, and we do not need the lip service. We have lost nearly a year to campaigning and transitions, delaying important laws. We must restore national pride in our elected members, and this is my first time in Parliament, and I am committed to serving with ethics and honesty. Look at our economy, look at Phillipsburg, look at our airport, and the struggles of the majority of our people on St. Martin. After 14 years, we cannot get it right. And electoral reform is a crucial step. We have much work and uncertainty ahead, but let's strive for a better tomorrow, knowing our actions are weighed by both our electorate and a higher power. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
First and foremost, I would like to thank God for allowing me to stand here today in front of you as your elected member of Parliament. I would also like to thank my family, my close friends, and my campaign team for standing by me every step of the way, whose sacrifices have not gone unnoticed or unappreciated. A special thanks to Jacoby Rodriguez, Suena Laville, former members of Parliament Johan Yanchi Leonard, Romain Laville, for their invaluable advice and support. To the URSM candidates and their supporters, I acknowledge that I would not be here today if it wasn't for them. I say thank you. To the voters that have been with me since 2014 and that has recently joined and committed to me and this movement, I say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. These groups of special individuals did not just vote for me because I am a likable individual or because it has been my lifelong dream. They voted for me because over the years I have displayed characteristics of integrity, competency, and a person of the community. As a family man, as a frontline worker, as a businessman, I too experience the hardship that our people go through. Our people are struggling while games are being played in this hall. As a result of this, they have lost faith in our political system. They have lost faith in us as leaders. On February 10th, I heard most members of Parliament talk about working together, putting St. Martin first, and other nice words. Unfortunately, it's not everybody that put this into practice. I would like to plead to each member of Parliament, let's start doing right by our people and our future generation, some of which are sitting here in the hallway today. I will do my best to draft legislations to improve the quality of life of our children, our seniors, and other vulnerable groups within our community. I hope that you will support them. I too will support any draft legislation that serves the best interests of our people, whether it comes from the minority or the majority in Parliament. I have no problem voting across party lines if it's good for the people of St. Martin. Over the next few months, until election, and even after I am re-elected back to office, I will continue to fight for alleviation of poverty in our community and the improvement of quality of life of all our citizens, whether you are born here or born to be here. Those that know my story know that it was not an easy journey for me to be elected here today. But despite all challenges, I never gave up. That's what I want you students to understand as well. Never give up in whatever you want to do. Today I say this because I want you to understand that I take my responsibility as a member of Parliament seriously, and that I am committed in working exclusively in the best interest of our people and St. Martin.
Take this time as leader of the National Alliance faction to welcome the two newest members of Parliament. We look forward to being able to do exactly what we've all stated in our opening statements here and at varying times, is to work for all the people, not just for the ones who may have voted for us, but in the interest of all of the people of St. Martin. It requires maturity, it requires compromise, and it requires dialogue, just like it does on the other side. And the elections that took place were parliamentary elections, and I really want us to remember that that's what it was. It's a representative on this side of the fence, but of course with a majority choosing who would represent us in the executive body. And I think that is something that we are still struggling with. We're still seeing that that is not quite finalized, and that is also part of the problem in terms of moving forward. We have a lot of decisions to make. Yes, reform has been on the agenda for some time, and I must say I'm happy to see that the meetings held last week regarding electoral reform here in the halls of Parliament is a step in that direction. But of course, we must collaborate and we must ensure that awareness is there by the population, which had started also with the government in the last cohort. So I look forward to seeing how, together with the community, we can dispel the amount of disinformation that continues to be spread. In our recent foray with the Parliamericas, as faction leaders, we were able to take part in discussions with many of our colleagues in the region, as well as the rest of the Americas, North and South America. And so it is imperative. This is not a St. Martin problem. Social media has given many people a platform. So what we must raise within our community is discernment. Discernment in terms of who is bringing the message, in terms of what are they saying. Is it the truth? Can it be verified? And I think that is where we will raise the level of how elections take place, because legislation can change, but if behavior doesn't change, we will not see the change that we want in St. Martin. And I have pledged to be the change I want to see in St. Martin, and hopefully inspire that within our young people with whom I have a rapport. And I will continue to do so together with my faction here in Parliament, with our community councils, and with the people of St. Martin in general. And so I look forward to the legislation, to the amendments, to the proposal, and to the support that I have heard recently spoken that will come from both sides of the fence for legislation that is good for the people of St. Martin.
First of all, congrats to MP Kotay and MP Brug. I also want to address MP Mingret. I would like to tell him I respect the fact that you publicly apologize to the people of St. Martin. That takes courage. That being said, today is a special day. Today we have with us the bright and eager faces of our youth. Please do know that they are watching us. They look up to us seeking inspiration, guidance, and hope. They are our future, and it's our duty to be the example that they need. We must remember that every action we take as members of Parliament and every decision that we make shapes their future. Our youth are not just the leaders of tomorrow. They are critical thinkers. They are innovators and the caretakers of our beloved St. Martin. And they deserve our best efforts. So let us all rise to that occasion. Let us focus our energies and commit ourselves to the task at hand. We, all 15 of us, have been entrusted with a great responsibility, and it's time that we deliver our promises. Let us work diligently and with integrity. Let us ensure that every decision we make, even if in this time, is in the best interest of St. Martin, of all the people of St. Martin. We owe it to all our citizens to provide them with service, opportunity, and support that they deserve. Today, let's renew our commitment to our island, to our people, and most importantly, to our youth.
For all of life's twists, turns, and defining moments, RBC is a blend for all of you. SZV, your social and health insurance. SZV, your social and health insurance.
Are you SZV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SZV is cardless. Request your My SZV account today and enter the virtual office of SZV. Go to szv.sx and sign up now.
SZV, yeah, your social health insurance.
And we go over to the voting for the chairperson of Parliament. According to our rules of order, it is necessary that a committee of tellers be appointed, and that's according to Article 7T, Paragraph 1 of the Rules of Order. I hereby appoint MP Melissa Gums, who is also the chairperson of the committee, and MP Cloyd Marlin as members of the committee. Members of Parliament, the ballots will be distributed, on which you will fill out the name of the person you would like to be the chairperson of Parliament. The tellers will then count the ballots, and the chairperson of the committee, MP Gums, will announce the results of the voting.
Thank you, Madam Chair. At the end of the voting, we have 8 votes cast for MP Sarah Westcott-Williams and 7 votes cast for MP La Cruz.
We now go over to the voting for the first vice chairperson of Parliament.
Thank you, Madam Chair. At the end of voting, there are 15 votes cast, 8 votes for MP Melissa Gums, and 7 votes for MP Cloyd Marlin.
MP Gums and MP Marlin, with those results, the second vice chair of Parliament is MP Melissa Gums. Congratulations, MP Gums. Congratulations, MP Emmanuel. And thank you to the members of Parliament and the people for tuning in to this meeting of Parliament.
I'm asking the people of St. Martin, this is a great country. Please, let's realize our position towards our own country. And let's realize that everything we say about this St. Martin, everything we do in this St. Martin, can hurt the future of the next generation of this beautiful St. Martin. I'm asking all of you to do an auto-reflection for a more constructive approach for this country. For example, against my will, I canceled already a trip to the Antigua because we were in a crisis situation politically, and I did not find that as a leader of a government in the week that this was going on that I should travel to the SITS where a Dutch delegation was actually planned to meet with me, but I did it. And now there is a threat following us that we are going to lose 230 million allocated by the World Bank through the Trust Fund for actually projects that it's already allocated to, but because of lack of manpower and lack of knowledge to handle the procurement to execute these projects, we are now having the risk that we are going to lose this $230 million for country St. Martin. And these $230 million are going to be relocated to restructure and organize our mental health care, our housing issues in this country on the level of social housing and also on the level of affordable housing, and also the crying situation of water, sewage, especially, for example, in Dutch Quarter. Not for me to hear on social media that this Dr. Marcelina is traveling to Washington because he has a deal in a $200 million affair from the World Bank that he has no influence to touch, and only traveling to see if he can actually safeguard these amounts that are allocated already to execute these projects, but because of shortage on manpower and knowledge to execute, we are in an enormous delay with these projects, and that is the reason that the World Bank doesn't want to proceed in supervising these amounts of money for us to execute them after 2028. Just for you to see how people twist things in this country the whole day for reasons of popularism. And actually, it's a disease at this particular moment in our country that we are finding more respect for destructive entertainment of people through social media than we are asking ourselves if we have a positive contribution to the development of this country.
Prime Minister, the Atlantic hurricane season is to start officially on Saturday, June 1st. We heard the Minister of VSA spoke of a possible collaboration between St. Martin and Aruba. Can you help us to understand as to the state of readiness of St. Martin in the event of a hurricane?
Yes. I have had already a full introduction by the EOC, and we have now coming week a meeting with the EFC. It's about 10 of them, and we are well already preparing and discussing, especially on communication level. Most of the time, it's not that persons don't know what they have to do in assuming the responsibility in what they have to contribute to in this whole crisis moment, but it has more to do with communication with each other and understanding the mechanism, how that dynamic process works. So in principle, we are getting also very good cooperation from the Marine from the Netherlands. We had actually, unfortunately, the 30th last week. I think it was last week. We had a planned meeting with them. They're very, very, very willing to help us in crisis situation, catastrophes. But unfortunately, I had to cancel it because of the political developments that just occurred. But in principle, we are working very, very, very hard, realizing that this hurricane season is coming for us to safeguard the security of the people of this country with the limited possibilities that we have in this country. We are walking at this particular moment the way we took over this government on a thin line of stability. Not only stability on political level, but also on infrastructure level to handle and be a good buffer to deal with the surprises of catastrophes for our country. One of them is, for example, our GB. Without catastrophe, look how we are with our utility of our country. With all respect, everybody doing their best by GEBE, but still, it makes us very, very vulnerable. So at the end of the day, we are in a state now with a lot of negligence on all fronts that brought us to a very vulnerable society in which we have to be very, very, very aware of how delicate things are now for us, especially going through this hurricane season that seems to be quite busy for St. Martin.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Jacqueline, you have the floor.
Thank you for allowing me this question. Prime Minister, the two national decrees for candidate ministers, Peterson and Emmanuel, were sent back to you by Governor Bailey.
Yes.
Where are these LBs now? At this
on my
moment?
desk. And if I have to send them back, that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm going to ask the governor, as head of our government, to install ministers in a government that resigned. So let's be honest, clear, and correct. And that is legal-wise not possible. So even if I send him back, that's a request for him to do something with it. But what can he do with it coming from a prime minister that resigned with his whole cabinet?
Okay.
That's not logical, right?
Yeah,
we had plans to do it, by the way. If the government did not fall, we would have done it because I still stand behind my two ministers. Don't misunderstand this. But the context has changed now that it makes no sense to send them now. But I still stand 100% behind the two candidates being Mr. Christopher Emmanuel and Mr. Rian Peterson.
But the decision from the governor to send them back to you instead of to the Rijksministeraad, the king, for annulment,
yes,
according to the regulations for the governor, what are the chances that after the snap elections the same situation will occur with these candidates or with other candidates?
If that is the case, I would send them back to him, and he has to assume his responsibility and do what he thinks that he has to do. I cannot decide for the governor. I can decide as a prime minister what my responsibility is, but I cannot decide for the governor. He has the LB, and if he doesn't want to sign him, he has his guidelines what he has to do as a governor with an unsigned LB.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXV, yeah. Your social and health insurances. For all of life's twists, turns, and defining moments, RBC is a bed for all of you.
One of the objectives of the Ministry of Justice is to create a law-abiding community. The Minister of Finance mentioned about starting road controls. One of the things that we notice are the scooters, motorcycles on the roads, very often without helmets, without license plates. My understanding is, for example, when accidents happen, if there's no insurance, if the person doesn't have health insurance, it becomes an expense for the country to pay those health costs. What's your approach to creating a more lawful society, especially with regards to scooters, motorcycles being properly registered, insured, and helmets? Because in the end, very often those costs come back to the country.
Okay. I am currently in consultations with the Chief of Police with all these matters. I must say we will have a major issue as police officers are independently working for the country. The situation is, if you do not pay these officers and get them their correct salaries, a lot of them are going through some mental issues at this point. I will go as far as telling you that the reason why I personally have to make assessments, because I came from the organizations, I'll let you know this. We have officers that end up sleeping in their vehicles that are homeless. Okay? I knew about 2. This minister is the people's minister, as they call me, because these persons reach out to me personally and I pick up the phone and to understand what is going on. We have an issue with our management, all right? And I'm going to say it publicly, and each and every one of them know how I stand. And that's why I took my stance against the management team, because they are the advisors to the minister. How is it, again, you're going to have many civil servants at home on the country's expense? How is it that we have police officers because of their financial situation? Again, when you hire them, for example, you're in scale 4, you're supposed to be in scale 4 for 2 years. Then later on, when you're promoted, you go to scale 5. You're going to be in scale 5 for 3 years, and then you go to scale 6. We had people on scale 5 for over 11 years. Who is responsible for that? The person that is, sometimes I think in Dutch, so the person that is At the end, responsible for this is the minister. But who have to give that information to the minister? The department heads. So we have a great issue within the departments where there's no follow-up. But because I'm from the ministry, I get the information now from my colleagues. Listen, Minister, look here, I'm in service since 2005. I was promoted in 5 since 2010, and we're in 2024. So these are the situations that we have. So with ongoing discussions, yes, with the Chief of Police, we will mitigate the situation, but the priority is to put these officers in their proper scale so that we can see them work effectively.